like I'm sort of radically changing the mood. I thought Nora's poems were wonderful, but they were somber, and this is going to change the mood quite a bit because these poems are about my character, Fat Slug, who is best described as the poster boy for the Low Self-Esteem Society. And I might as well just go ahead and give you, this poem I think gives you as good an introduction to Fat Slug's world as any could. This is called Fat Slug's Horoscope. If today is your birthday, you wheeze a lot. Your aura is the exact color of a periwinkle Crayola crayon. You've never met a drain you couldn't clog. You are the only person Pat Buchanan and Al Sharpton distrust equally. In mid-February, you will discover romance and adventure, but then forget where you put them. You'd better find them quickly before the dog does. People will give you meaningful looks on April Fool's Day. You will reach a crisis toward the end of May when Mercury enters the 4th house and the moon aligns with the Austrian Freedom Party. Stop wearing socks on Tuesday and everything will be fine. The only excitement you will have all year will occur early in August when an attractive person of the opposite sex will run naked past your office screaming, "Tucky biscuits!" That person will vanish before you can reach the door. Sometime in October, you will awake to find a demon sitting on your chest, feeding you hot coals. The demon will wear a name tag saying, "Hi, I'm Hrothgar." It will not even look at you, but just keep putting coal after coal in your mouth with the distracted air of a candy store clerk placing bonbons in a bag. If you survive this, you will receive a letter from the IRS the next day. From Thanksgiving until New Year's, you will spread joy, harmony, and the Ebola virus. You will be loved by everyone except the World Health Organization. Emily Dickinson, Ben Affleck, and King Zog of Albania share your birthday. They too must stop wearing socks on Tuesday. Chartreuse and burnt umber are your best colors. Avoid clams and roller coasters at all costs. Your lucky number doesn't exist. Thank you very much. And even Fat Slug had a childhood, and this poem is called Fat Slug in the 4th grade. "Hey, Fat Slug!" yelled Fat Sandra, surrounded by her harpy cronies. "There's a new girl here who wants to meet you." The harpies seize Fat Slug and, claw by hideous claw, drag him over to where the pale new girl fades into the wall. "Hello," he says, holding out his hand. The pale girl cringes as from a gargoyle. Fat Sandra's laughter resounds through the centuries. And as Fat Slug's encounters with people tend to be on the odd side. So this is one poem set in the area near the White House. This is called Fat Slug Meets a Poet. He materializes from the camouflage of President's Park and weaves around the Treasury building's wrought iron fence, his sneakers kicking a soft drink cup. A ponytail trickles from the back of his helmet and down his battle fatigues. His knapsack has a ponytail too, fluorescent orange cord dangling to the sidewalk. "Freak alert! Freak alert!" Fat Slug shifts into warp speed to get past this idiot. But as he walks by, Fat Slug sees an unsteady finger pointing at him and hears a voice. "Before you go, I want you to know that the man behind you is the Death Crow, and the man behind him is the Life Flow. man behind him is the hedgerow, and the man behind him is the rainbow, and the man behind him is the free throw, and the man behind him is the late show, and the man behind him is the stooge mow, and the man behind him is Ohio. Remember this, go slow. Another great friend of both the Iota and Nora School reading series was the late Hillary Tom. She designed the Sun and Courses logo for the poetry series t-shirts, which made me sorry to hear they're going to be retired. But anyway, she had her own character, her own recurring character, Mrs. Wei, who was like the wise, the archetypal wise Chinese mother, whose motto was, "Now, I believe in Lord Buddha, but within reason." Anyway, Faxlug and Mrs. Wei actually did have a two-poem exchange. It has just been republished in issue 50 of the Potomac Review. And this is Hillary's poem. Mrs. Wei tells Faxlug, and then it will be followed by Faxlug's reply to Mrs. Wei. My dear boy, never mind dieting. You must change your name. Such an unlucky name entraps the spirit, attracts hungry ghosts. They'll move in. You will eat and never fill their stomachs. Good things come to a good name, even love, which gods know is a picky phoenix wanting handsome inside and out. Be glad as the laughing Buddha. To be alive and that suicidal bird will come to your hand. Even the gods love tasty, love sun. Don't salt your meals with guilt. The tangiest General Tso's chicken isn't good eating in the grave, and that's a trap no one escapes. Dear Mrs. Wei, you are very kind and you mean well, but you misunderstand. Faxlug is not a name you choose for yourself, nor can you choose to relinquish it. If you are meant to bear the name of Faxlug, there are 5,000 ways it clings to you from birth, 10,000. The complaints of springs and chairs and beds, of floorboards with which thought they would stay pines forever and never counted on having to bear your weight. The wind whispers Faxlug, dogs bark Faxlug, but most of all, the glances of people say Faxlug. You say love, and they say Faxlug. You say beauty, and they say Faxlug. You say, I'm not Faxlug, and they laugh out loud. And why should Faxlug get General Tso's chicken? Those who are not Faxlug will tell you you do not deserve rich meats at the table, not even dry crackers or lettuce leaves, but only what the small intestine makes of them. Even Buddha didn't laugh most of the time. You cannot escape the world, but your religion and mine say you escape the grave somehow, some way. Perhaps Marvell was half right and the grave is fine, but not private. Perhaps when your descendants come to spread General Tso's chicken and succulent pork for your delectation in the afterlife, I will drop by with whatever tattered nosegays my descendants leave for me as the centerpiece for your table, and we will feast together. And all the other skeletons in the graveyard, stripped of beauty and arrogance along with flesh, may join us. After Hillary died, I wrote this poem, which is called Faxlug Mourns Mrs. Wei. It's a Monday morning like any other and not. Faxlug, not wanting to be or think, stands stands in line at the metro gate. He touches his smart trip card to the logo and moves ahead. The gate, not opening, buzzes as he rams it. The people behind Fat Slug mutter and giggle. He touches the card once again. This time the gate opens. Fat Slug walks through, cuffing the machine as he passes. Sir! Fat Slug and the whole station turn around. Standing before Fat Slug is a metro uniform worn by a boy half his age. Sir, no hitting the equipment, he barks. Everyone at the station stares at Fat Slug. He snarls a sorry at the uniform, starts to walk away, then bellows back, I buried my best friend yesterday! I'm sorry about your stupid machine! On the platform and in the train, Fat Slug tries to shrink to nothing, a familiar voice in his mind. Fat Slug, if I were here right now, I would box your ears. Lord Buddha frowns on behavior like that, and anyway, how do you think I feel that you use me as a reason to be nasty? There's never an excuse for not seeing people. You have to look at them and really see them. The train shrieks and the Fat Slug stops. Escalators hoist him into a world of feudal buildings and a cringing sun. He scurries for camouflage, saying his mantra, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. From every doorway wafts faint aromas of General Tso's chicken, oranges, flowers. Was Elizabeth Bishop's lesbian lover when she lived in Brazil. And I thought I had better have contained at least some reference to Elizabeth Bishop or my literary friends would kill me. So I presented this poem at a workshop, and the first question was, who's loaded in Mercedes Suarez? Fat Slug in Rio. Fat Slug in Rio is on the all-day bus tour after the business trip he got by dint of his boss's non-fatal heart attack and his being the only other guy in the office with a valid passport. No adoring Lota de Mercedes Suarez eases his introduction to Brazil. On interviews, his interpreter yells at him for taking pictures. On vacation, the bartender at the rooftop pool yells at him for taking pictures. The guide on the bus tour doesn't yell, he just speaks English and Portuguese. Fat Slug swarms from the apiary of the bus into the Beehive Cathedral. He stares straight ahead, humming bossa nova on the cable car to Sugarloaf, rather than acknowledge the 1,000 feet of nothing between him and Guanabara Bay. He learns that gorging at a different churrascaria, even if the price is included, is a bad idea before climbing Corcovado and the 150 steps to Jesus. The stone arms rise from the clotted mist, blessing the t-shirt stalls. The pale young couple from Minneapolis grins at Fat Slug from across the aisle. With their blonde hair and glasses, they could be twins. They are lawyers. They are on their honeymoon with a day in Rio on their hands like Fat Slug. Tomorrow they head for Iguazu Falls and Fat Slug for home. It's nice, 10,000 miles from home, to speak with someone approximately from home, where you would never even think of speaking. But here, the 5 minutes worth of things you have to say to each other are comfort, as is the knowledge that you will say them and never have to say any more. So now it is evening. Fat Slug ventures into the Ipanema dusk and meets the couple again. Unprepared, he nods shyly and gets in return a glare of machetes, piranhas, and skulls. A couple more. This is another sort of like what you would call a typical Fat Slug poem, sort of like a typical state of mind. This is called Fat Slug Invents a Language. Dorfbag, Crown Chorn, Kerplipsia, Zort, Bilgafnia, Zerzgliag, This is the language that comes unbidden to Fat Slug as he slogs the concrete furrows of city streets, an ox harnessed to an urban plow. It comes as a reaction to blankness, a substitute for screaming obscenities. He rides the subway and thinks, move. He talks to his boss and thinks, woof, woof, woof. He sits alone at home and thinks, good gasker, prifterhaft. Fat Slug dreams of plastering manifestos across the city's belligerent walls. Unja, Gerblatio, Bilgelbeck, Self-Nagasdorf, Turbik, Plus, Fleabats, Jukania, Ikmarpia, Orgorg, Plano, Vlanos, Narf, Ogwudsitki, Ikabajita! Trying to the declamatory anguish of a language incomprehensible even to its author. It isn't fear of jail or printing costs that keep Fat Slug from performing his revolutionary act. It is, rather, the danger of delivering your dreams into the hands of the public. So Fat Slug, robbed of his private poetry, would slog through the concrete nimworks, a farm czar hitched to an urban blink, bereft of all but the real words that break occasionally through his chatter like sponge, clam, nerve, nude, shit, art, bread, God. And this is my last poem. About 15 or so years ago, a friend of mine wrote an article about me for the Washington Post Sunday magazine. I was participating in the Poetry Slam at that time, and I won one at the old 15 Minutes Club downtown. And I got a lot of nice cards and letters and calls from people about that, and one weird one. So naturally I wrote about the weird one. And this isn't a Fat Slug poem, but it mentions Fat Slug. It's called Call from a Fan. Hello, Mr. Moore. I am a housewife from Fauquier County, and I was so inspired by the article about you. I've always wanted to enter the slams myself, but you know how it is being stuck with 4 kids out here in the boondocks with my husband driving the only car to work. And just the other day, Tony getting a toothache and Jenny drawing all over the walls with her red crayon. But you get the picture. It was just so moving to read about you winning that slam. Words in your bubble butt. Get the hell down from your pedestal and out into the real world. No one wants your fat oozing over them like an oil slick off the coast of Alaska, killing everything in sight. Fat Slug is an ivory tower. Fat Slug is a caged beast. Fat Slug doesn't know shit from Shinola, and we don't want to listen to him anymore. Die, Fat Slug, die! Anyway, I hope you like the poem. And sorry about what I said about big words. I just have this thing against big words. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I'm so glad you have a sense of humor. Bye now.